Okay, so now we will take a look at the same problem, but with compound interest. So let's see how that would work. So we're going back to this one. We're going to go to the 3-year note that, you lent your brother $1,000. He'll pay you back $150 at the end of three years, along with the note. Okay, so now, if we are going to be compounding the interest, let's see how that would work. For the first year, it would be the same, okay? You'd have the principal times the rate times the time, $50 interest. But then, with compound interest, you're going to be computing the next year's interest on the amount of the principal plus the interest so far. So you're going to be compounding it on $1,050. So it would still be the annual rate, time. So the second year's interest is 53. Now you get up to year 3, where you're compounding the interest. Your interest is going to be a little bit higher. So you can see with compound interest, borrowing the same amount, he's going to be repaying you $158 as opposed to $150. Okay, so that's the nature of compound interest. Just to look at it a little further, and I think this is on your the notes. If you look at brief exercise 6.1, and this is a $15,000 note, 8%, and we're doing a 3-year note, and it's compounded annually, once a year. So we've got the 15,000 times 8% gives you 1,200 for the first year. The next year, the interest is calculated on the principal plus the interest, so 16.2 times 8 is your interest for year 2, and they add that on to get the new principal, the 17,496, and so your interest on this problem over 3 years would be 3,896. Now, what happens if we compound things more often? And you think of this as a lender, what do you want to do? Do you want to get, just compound annually, or let's look at compounding semi-annually. Here, you're going to be starting off with the same 15,000, but because there are 2 payments each year, this is year 1, year 2, year 3, so because there are 2 payments each year, you have to reflect that in the interest rate. So it would be 4%. It would be 8% total for the year, but because there's 2 periods in the year, each period has 4% attached to it. So you'd be going to 15,000 times 4%, compound it, 4%, you get the 624. So at the end of year 1, that's where you are. Year 2, you would do the same thing. And you can see that compounding semi-annually, the bottom line is that there is a lot more interest involved. Here it was 3,896, here it's 3,980. Okay, now think about, and you may want to just experiment with this on your own because it helps you understand it. See what happens when you compound quarterly. See what happens when you compound monthly, okay? See what it does compared to compounding annually. Then look at your credit card statement and see how often they're compounding. I think you'll find that they compound daily, and see what that does to your interest costs there. Anyway, so that's brief exercise 6.1, and you can see how doing these calculations might get a little cumbersome for like 30-year mortgages. So I think that we'll take a look at the tables and see how they can help us do these problems a little bit faster.